I wanted to talk about what it's like. See if you're not where you want to be in your life. I've experienced this a lot of times as well. You'll probably know exactly what I mean when I say you're working a job you don't like. You don't have the habits and routines that you want. You're maybe behind with payments. You're in debt. You're not making the money you want. You don't have the body. You don't have the experience you want. You're maybe not even sure on where you want to go in life, and this is something that has plagued me for so long, where I would wake up every day and be like, right, okay, I know I want to live this dream life, and I want more for myself, but you're not sure where to start, and you're not sure what your next best step should be. Yeah, I relate to that so much because that is where I've been for a very long time. And I used to wake up, it would be every day before work. I remember I would wake up and I'd be like, right, today's the day I'm going to grind. You see all the videos online of like people making really good money, or they're travelling, or something like stuff that you'll see and it excites you, but you're just not sure if it's right for you. That's analysis paralysis, and it can fuck you up so badly because you can get stuck in that loop for such a long time where you always think, oh, but what if that? But what if that? Meanwhile, you go to the job, you feel numb. That's the best way I can describe it, and you'll know exactly what I mean when you show up to work, and it's like this is just gonna pay the bills. And if you're paid hourly, you'll always have good days where you'll go, why am I putting in the effort? I get paid the same. It kind of takes any fun out of doing well. Lately, I've switched to commission based sales, and it's got the other issue of on your good days, you do get paid well, but now it's on your bad days, you don't get paid. So you have really good days and really bad days, where before you had medium bad days and kind of okay good days. So yeah, it can be tough, and it's it's how do you keep yourself motivated when you know you want more, you know you need more, you know something has to change, but every day you go to a job where you kind of don't really care about it. It's difficult to deal with it. So when you've got that feeling of going in and you go, this doesn't matter. In your head, you're like, why am I rushing to this job? I don't even like it. And then you also look at your bank account and you're like, okay, I need money. Like, we all know that pain of you've just got to get ends meet, you've got to survive, right? But you can get quite disheartened by it because there's only so many days, we're all human, there's only so many days you can do where you go in, you feel numb, you have a shit day, and then you go into the next day feeling a little bit worse, less motivated, you have another shit day, you go into the next day, and it's just that you can go down and down and down. And I know it can be such a painful cycle, but if you give up, right, let's say you're just like, this is so bad, I want to give up, like, it's not for me, I'm never gonna, make my dreams happen, I'm never gonna get rich, I'm never gonna have the six pack, I'm never gonna be able to move to a different country, I'm never going to be able to travel, I'm never going to be able to get my dream girlfriend, right? Let's say you give up on it and you say, nah, it's not for me, it's too difficult. Like, how does that benefit you, Let's say that you are right, okay? You say that, no, I'm giving up. It's too difficult to try and work on my business before work, or it's too difficult to go to the gym after work. I don't have time for a girlfriend. I don't have time to see my friends. I can never sit down. When I come in from work, all I want to do is just put my feet up and relax and stuff. And it's like, that's the trade off. That's why so many people don't try and start a business or don't try and do anything more. One, they don't have the ambition to start with, They live a kind of mediocre life and they just fill it with like cheap pleasure, So many people just come home, feet up, TV on, let's watch whatever shit's on. It's like you just zone out from your life, You get invested in someone else doing the shit that you'd want to be doing. Where now you're gonna watch Game of Thrones or whatever the fuck it is now, but they go on a massive quest to conquer the land and become an empire. And it's like, you should be doing that in your life with starting a business or going to the gym or learning a language or an instrument or reading or boxing, something like you should be doing that in your own time with your own life where you become your own hero in your own story. But so many people, they just go, but I go and I work, whatever. Like, I was thinking that the other day when I was like, I'm working 12 hours a day here, commuting into the city. I come in early. I'm like recruiting people for my team, for sales and stuff like that. And I was like, I try and always reframe it to be like, okay, I'm learning valuable skills. And then after I've done that, then the real work begins. And it's, if you've ever done sales, it's like 8 hours of getting rejected, and then I'll notice that my attitude goes down, and it can just be a really difficult thing. And you'll have it. I had it before my old job when I was in engineering, where I would come in and I'd be like, I don't care about this crappy machine. Like, I fixed it before, and the company doesn't care, and they just let it break all the time. They'll never buy new machines, and nothing will ever change. And it's like, okay, fair enough. You can complain about other things being the issue. How does that help you? Okay, I blame my old work for being terrible. Okay, so my old work's terrible, and I still have to go to it every day to make money. It's like, how does that help me? Or now I can start by saying, oh my god, this is too difficult. I feel like shit. I'm just giving up, and I'm gonna go home from I'm not even gonna stay at the job the full time to get the full wage. And it's like, I'm just gonna give up on my dreams. It's like, how does that help you? It's like saying it's too difficult and you'll never get it. It's like, okay, so is that it? We just give up. We just stick to mediocre life. Go and earn your 30k, a job you really don't like, and just, go your one holiday a year, and always think, what could have been? Is that the most you want for your life? It's not an easy path. It is never going to be an easy path. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices. There's going to be so many nights when you go, I don't even know what the next step should be, and you still have to push on. You're going to come home, you're going to feel exhausted, and that doesn't mean that every day should be 1,000%. If you're having a shit day and you can just get the bare minimum scraped through, that day's a win. If you had it that, on Monday I was going to go to the gym, and you wake up on Monday and you cannot be bothered bringing yourself to work, and you've not been speaking to any girls lately, or you've just been dumped, or you've got no money in your bank account, but you still show up to the gym even when you feel like absolute shit, and you might not do a good workout, but you still put in the minimum effort on days where you're feeling like absolute zero, then you're still pushing yourself forward. And it's just, you've always got to reframe it of, what can I do to push myself forward? Like, what would I do that I could do today to push myself forward? And that's where it's getting into routines helps so much, because if you're just sitting there and you're saying, okay, I don't really like where I'm at, but it's too difficult to change, it's too much effort, it's too much for me to actually try and get anything done, then nothing's going to change. And if you think today is difficult, it only gets worse, because you know exactly what happens. You go home and you say, I've had a hard day, you put the TV on, or you play Xbox with your friends, you go out drinking, or you do drugs, or you eat shit, whatever your vice is, right? Everybody's got something. What happens after you're finished it? You feel like shit. So what are the two options? One, you either stop and you try and do things that are in alignment with who you want to be, and you try and build yourself up, or two, you've now got this big empty pit that can only be filled by doing more of whatever the destructive action was. That's how people get massively overweight, because food becomes comfort. That's how people become drug addicts, because they're in a shit place in life and they just want the escape. That's how people become addicted to video games, because their own life is shit. And it's like, it's so, I'm there, I know how fucking difficult it is to go, I hate my life. Well, that is a really strong statement. That can lead down very bad paths, and you don't want to do stuff like that. But when you realise that you're in a place in life where you don't want to be, it's so empowering, because it's a case of, you have the power to change that. Every day you get to make conscious decisions to actually pull yourself out of that place. Because if you just say, no, it's too difficult, I'll never make that business work, I'll never get in shape, it's like, it doesn't benefit you to be right. It just keeps you trapped exactly where you are, and on this steadily declining path where it's now, okay, well, if I'm never gonna make it, then I may as well just eat like shit. I may as well just spend whatever I make. I may just, go and do drugs or go out drinking all the time or chase women, because it's like, there's no point, and it's that self-defeating attitude that gets you to a place where you go, fuck it, and then you turn out in 20 years, like, what is the end result of that 20 years down the line? You'll just be depressed. You've lived a life of mediocre comforts that you never really wanted, and you just kind of turn out a bit shit, and you're going to wonder in 20 years time, you'll be pissed off at younger you, because I do this all the time where I'm like, oh, if only when I was younger they've invested that money in the stock market rather than spending it on some dumb course, or going out drinking as much or traveling as much and stuff. And it's like, hang on a minute, but what would you do today? You can't be annoyed when you slack off today and then you're like, oh, in 6 months time, how am I not where I want to be, when you're annoyed at yourself today for not being where you want to be, but you slacked off 6 months ago as well. But that can have its own issues as well, because when you put way too much pressure on yourself, it fucks you up so much. So I'll give you an example of that. Was for a while I was trying to optimize everything in my life. Okay, so when I would wake up, I would be like, I had that. Well, first of all, I was like, okay, if I don't wake up at 5:45 every day, I'm failing off the bat. And it's like, normally I would have woke up at like 10 or 11, I was so bad before. So the fact I'm even waking up close to like the start of that, and then it's like, okay, and then I should be trading, and I had this exact mechanical plan, and I was like, right, if I don't follow this exact plan to the letter, I've failed as well. If I don't make £10,000 in 3 months, I've failed. If I don't then backtest 50 trades in that time as well, I failed. If I don't then do an hour span, I was trying to make my life so robotic, but it's just like I was trying to pile so much. It was like, okay, so I've got to wake up early for the fitness stuff and have meal prepped and do this and it's, if you're trying to do too much at once or alongside a job, it's like you're one person with emotions and you're just starting out. You've not built that muscle up yet. So you've got to decide what is the biggest thing messing you up in life. And I'm gonna hazard a guess it's probably money, because if you had 100k sitting there, you could now hire coaches or mentors or whatever. You've got the time and you've got the leverage and the freedom to be able to kind of do more with your life once you've got money. That first 10k a month, first 100 grand sitting in your bank account, that's what buys you the freedom. That's what kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, where it's like, okay, now I can invest it back in a PT if I want to get fitter, or a Spanish teacher, or a boxing coach, or whatever, which then just allows you to kind of leverage them. It makes it more fun, So probably to begin with, your biggest thing will be, I need to make more money. If you're kind of working a job you hate, because now that job takes up 40 hours minimum, plus travel, plus all the thought into it. It's like they take up most of your waking life. So that's where it's like your number one priority then should be working on whatever side business or second job, or whatever your thing is you're working on, that needs to be your priority, and see if that's the one thing that you get done. The day was still a success. So for me, it's trading, and when I wake up, I'll put in 1 to 2. I'll basically just wake up and start trading, because my trading window is normally from about 6 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock in the morning, and I don't get annoyed at myself if I'm like, I need an extra hour in bed today. I'll give myself the extra hour, and I'll be like, you walked, 15 kilometres yesterday doing sales door to door. You hit the gym the day before, you've been exhausted, you've been putting in the work all week. At the weekend, you're still working. It's like, if I need an extra hour in bed, I don't beat myself up about it. It's like, I still wake up and I'm still trading. You've got to give yourself little bits of leeway. If you're too strict with yourself, this is only in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, you're still building a new identity. You're still getting on the path of doing the right things. So if you're super strict with yourself, imagine you had a child coming in and you dropped them in sixth year, right? Like a little 5-year-old or something, and you dropped them in sixth year at school, or secondary school, and you said to them, you need to keep up with everybody. Like, they don't have the capabilities for it. Never mind even being in school. Never mind like even learn to read or write, and you're dropping them in at the deep end. It's like, of course they're gonna struggle. And you're the same way. You've got to imagine that you're that little 5-year-old, and you've just got to make stuff really simple. What do you do with 5-year-olds? You make it really fun. It's like, today we're gonna come in and we're gonna draw, and we're all gonna draw together, and we're gonna just, I don't know, fuck about and eat crayons and do whatever the fuck, right? You make it fun, and then it's like, and then at lunch we're all gonna go out and we're gonna eat our little packed lunches outside, and we're gonna fucking run around in the gym, and then we're gonna play nap time or whatever, right? You know what I mean? You make it easy, you make it fun, and you make it achievable, where it's like, showing up is the main thing, and it's getting in the routine. And then it becomes a case of, some days I'll show up, and I can work from, I might wake up at 6, and I'll get really good trades in, and then I'll be journaling trades, and then I'll be reviewing my journaling stuff for the week, and then I'll be studying the charts more, and watching videos on it, and analysing, and like, I can get from about 6 in the morning till about 11 o'clock, I could do a massive work window, and then get the train to work and stuff like that. And that will be days, and then but in your mind it fucks you up, because you go, yeah, but that's the standard I can work to, and it's like, yeah, that's the standard you can work to when you're feeling good, and it's like, but I had a really good week at sales before, and I've just been talking to a new girl, and but it's a lot of different things can factor into that. So you can't get annoyed at yourself when you're like, I'm not performing at my best, and it's like, you're not always going to perform at your best. One of the things I've taken away from sales is, I would always get annoyed at myself where my personal best was 5 sales in a day. Bearing in mind I've only been doing this like less than 12 weeks, so I'm still fairly new to sales, but I was always aiming for my 5 a day. That wasn't, sounds like I'm trying to eat healthy food, but I would always aim for my best every day. And I spoke to my manager, I'm like, I'm getting pissed off. I'm like, I keep getting, 1s and 2s some days, like 3s, and then occasionally I'll get a 5. I've had it like once, and I was like, I've had a 4 a few times. I get pissed off, and he's like, yeah, you're not always gonna have your best day. That's why they're your best day. You'll maybe get one of them a week, a couple of 2s and 3s, and then one of your days might be a 1, a 1 or a 2 or something. You've got to realise that you're not always going to be at your best. You're only human, and you're doing performance-based things. Same with your life. It's, if you're trying to perform at your top level, you can only do that so many times, or you're going to get burnt out. But it's about consistency. It's about building the routines. It's about getting into a better mindset and stuff, and that all takes time. And that's the other thing as well. It's never going to come overnight. You're never just going to be like, bam, that's me here, And I get pissed off with that when it's like, yeah, but I've been doing it for 2 weeks, and I would always think, that's such a long time, Imagine 2 weeks at work, and it's like, realistically, right, look back at seeing your job. What do you really get done in 2 weeks? How much messing around is there and stuff? And it's like, you can't just switch from being kind of lazy, kind of unproductive, not having the best habits, to just go, right, that should be me. I should be this absolute powerhouse. It's like, it might take you 2 years just to build that muscle up of being more disciplined and doing the things that you say you're going to do. Because for me, it's taken me years to get to even this point where I consistently trade, I consistently learn Spanish, roughly pretty well. I mean, I go to the gym every couple of times a week. I can still be more consistent in that. It's not easy to build up those routines. It's taken me a long time to even build this mindset up, and it's like, how do you judge a mindset? It's just reading things over and over and over and over again until it all builds up, and it never ends. I think that can be one of the other daunting things, where it's, you're never there. Because I think a lot of the time I would think to myself, yeah, but if I could just make 10 grand a month. And then I think about my friends that are making that, and they're living out in Spain in a villa, and I've seen how, like, I've been sat beside them while they're working, and it's like, just living a normal life, but they just make a bit more money. You know, it's you don't hit 10 grand and somehow you just enter Valhalla or heaven or whatever your thing is, and life becomes perfect and that's it. It's like you still need to work past that. That's just like the first big milestone where it's like you're earning enough money where you can choose. You have a lot more freedom in your life, in your day to day. Where if people say to you, do you want to go to this fun restaurant at the weekend? Yes. Or do you want to take a week off and go here on holiday? Yes. Like you can do shit like that, but that's never the end goal. The end goal for me is always building a life that I care about, because I think about the cars. Or you know what, I always think back to, I really wanted a drone, right? And it's sitting up there on my shelf, okay? And see, for so long I wanted this drone, and I would research it, and I thought it would be the coolest thing. I was like, my life will be so fulfilled, and I can go on trips and film it and stuff like that. And I got the drone. It was like £1,000, and it was this like fancy DJI one. I was like, and I can start a drone business, and I can do this, and it was like, and I got it, and I used it for like 3 weeks, and then I kind of got bored of it, and I was like, meh. I was like, I filmed stuff. I tried to put it into a little edit, and I was like, I don't actually think making videos with drones is for me. I was like, it's kind of a fun thing I could do maybe every once in a while when I'm on trips, but it wasn't it. And it's like, that's how I see a lot of possessions, where if you get a new car, it'll be fun for a bit, and then it'll kind of fizzle off. It's like you're just relying on things being new. Same with when we travel, I'll travel around Europe and stuff, and we stayed in like a 14-bed mansion. It was like, wow, and you go around it and it was fun, and then the thing that actually brings you a lot of fulfillment is it's spending time with your friends. It was still just waking up early and working on the stuff I was interested in. Like, that's always going to be the end goal, is becoming the person you want to become, of doing the things that you say you want to do, of like living your life in alignment with what you want to be. That's always going to be the end goal. So see, when I finally came to that conclusion, it was like, the fun things will come, right? And it's going to make you pretty happy when you get to go to a boat party, you get to travel to like luxury locations around the world. Like, obviously that's nice. No one's saying that they're not going to want to do stuff like that, but it's just added benefits. The main thing is always living your life the way you want to live it, and becoming the person you want to become. That is going to be your daily thing of building a family, or getting, finding a girlfriend who you really love, or building a business that you really, really resonate with. And that's where it can become so difficult, when you look at your life today and you look at where you want to be, and if you've not even figured out what you want to be, oh my god, that I need to make a whole other rant about that as well, because that is such a difficult thing to actually figure out. It took me a long time to realise what I want, and it's going to change as well. Like, you're going to hit certain goals, and you're going to hit try different things, and you're going to be like, I don't think this is it. But it's building up that muscle, as I said, of being able to go, here's where I'm at in life, here's what I think I want, and starting to move for it. And the clarity only comes from action, where you could always say to yourself, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't like this. But until you actually try it, you don't know. And it's usually about trying things with the kind of easiest way to get in the door, I'd say, is the best way to do it. Like, I think that's why I resonate so much with trading compared to, I tried property investing before, where property investing, I had to invest £20,000, up front for mentorship. Why younger me thought that was a good idea, like, I don't know. But anyway, that put me in 25 grand of debt, probably held me back for like 2 years from trying other things. Then I was having to find, hundreds of thousands of pounds of fund, or like tens, if not £100,000 of funding to buy a house and rent it out and stuff. Like, very high barrier to entry, very good model, but not probably what I should have done at the start. Or yeah, I don't know. It's like, for most of you watching, you're probably just working some job you're not really interested in, or if you're like me, you were at uni before and you're just thinking, why am I studying like a random course? I don't care. The amount of people I've spoke to, and it's like, they have a psychology course, and it's like, why'd you pick that? I was interested in it. And it's like, if you're interested in something, try and build a business around it. Make a YouTube channel, talk about it, sell products that can help people around it. I don't know, like get into coaching on it, or but like develop something rather than just go and study it, because I just feel so many people do that as well today, where you'll study for something that you're kind of just interested in, and then you get to uni, and then it becomes easy mode where it's like, oh, and the government will give you a loan, and you've now got your own place and money coming in, and you can maybe work a little side job as well if you want, and it's like it feels pretty fun when it's like you're around a lot of young people, a lot of parties, a lot of cheap dopamine. There's kind of no pressure on you. You can just be like, yeah, I'm a student, and then people go, oh, so you're learning like something. You say, if you say I'm a biomed student, people go, oh shit. I mean, if you're picking biomed, you're probably pretty smart, and you're doing something you'd be interested in. But if people say I'm doing like, I don't know, socio-economic studies or something, it's like, did you really pick that because you cared about it, or did you just pick it because you were like, I'm interested and don't really know what to do? And I think there's a big difference where if you just went to uni, like that's exactly what I done, where I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. Uni seems like it's a good idea. Let's do that. And then I got 2 years in, I was like, why the fuck am I here? I'm failing exams because I don't care. And it's, if you don't even care what you're doing in your life, you're in the wrong place. And I feel uni can become a big trap, because it's like, yeah, you get this good degree at the end of it, and it's like, it's a good job for life, but is that the life you want to live? Because that's exactly what happened with me when I dropped out and I got an engineering job, and I stayed there for 4 years, and everyone around me always told me that it was a good idea to have an engineering job. It's a good solid job for life, and it was a 50 grand a year job. You got your holidays, you got a few little benefits and stuff like that. It was a kind of pretty good middle of the road job, respectable, stuff like that. Everyone would always tell me that it was a good life, and then I would look around and be like, yeah, but it's not the life I want. And it's like, well, no one's gonna come along and tell you, if you don't like where you're at in life, you don't like the path you've chosen in life, they're not gonna say, oh, change it. Like, your manager just goes, I want to get paid as well. He probably done the same thing when he was younger and just went, I need money, I need a job, what's a good job? Applied for whatever was available and took a job within, I don't know, 1 to 6 months. And it would have just happened to have been that job. That's what most people do. And then they just kind of go, oh, well, it's not bad. There's these benefits, and there's this and there's that. And it's like, if you're happy with that, and usually if you've got like a really hot girlfriend, or you've got a kind of reasonably good house, and you've got good friends and stuff, you'll be like relatively happy with it. Maybe you'd want more. I don't know. Like, I don't understand people who are just complacent in their life. That's so foreign to me, to be like, I'm not really happy, but I'm just gonna sit here, and it's like, I don't get that, right? I'd love to talk to somebody where they've just kind of given up and be like, where's the oomph gone? Where's the spark gone? And this will be interesting, because I'd like to watch this back at times because inevitably I'll hit this, and you'll hit it as well, where you will have points in your life where you'll go, damn, I'm feeling like shit. Life isn't going the way I want it. I feel like giving up. And again, it comes back to the same point of, okay, let's say you give up. You're right. It is difficult. It is tough. And you're 99% right, as someone always likes to say, and 100% wrong. You're so right. It's difficult. It's tough. There's a million things in your way. You're exhausted. I don't know, let's say you've got kids, you've now got to raise them and build a business and deal with the wife, and there's this arsehole at work, and you feel depressed every day, and you feel numb, and it's like, okay, you're right, it is fucking difficult to then come home and go, and I'm going to trade and put in 110% effort, as much as I can on that day, into trading. It is fucking difficult, and it's like, okay, let's say you give up, you're never going to get it. Cool. How does it feel to be right and just say it's too difficult, it's never going to work? It's like, so that's it, you're just going to give up, you're going to be like, this is me. It's like, if you think your life is shit now, do you think it's going to be better or worse in 20 years time, when you go, and I'm older, and I've got more responsibilities, and now I'm halfway paying off that mortgage, so if I quit now, it feels like I've wasted 20 years. It's like, there's never going to be a better time to do it now. And if you don't do anything now to change, it's like, okay, that's it. It's like, have fun living the same life for the rest of the time until you eventually just die with regret. And it's like, I know it's bleak, but that's what forced me to quit my job when I was like, is this it? And it's like, I could maybe try and find another engineering job or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but is that really what you want? I'm like, no, I want to try and help people achieve shit they want to achieve. I want to make my money in trading. I want to be in good shape, and I want to be able to travel. And it's like, it was just a big leap in life where I knew I wanted more. I didn't really know how to get there, and I've just been having to take leaps. And it's like, it is so fucking difficult to do stuff like that because you don't know what the outcome is. And it's like, life and business are very much the same that way, where you have to take risks in your life. You're uncertain of the outcome. You need to put in a shit ton of work for a really long extended amount of time, and there's no guarantee it'll work. Like, that's about as simple as I can make it. And it's like, that's the trade-off you have to make between living a comfortable life on one end, where, you know, I could have stayed there, wasn't very fulfilled, wasn't super happy, wasn't working on things I cared about, but I had 50 grand a year just kind of rolling into my bank account. If I had shit days, the money still came in. So it's like, you've got to think as well, if you are on a 9 to 5, you can't hate it because it pays for you to be able to do what you want to do. You know, people always go, oh, you know, you see the Tate stuff online of like, oh, brokies and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, quit the job, see how you get on. You'll have about like 2-3 months of savings if you're good with money, and then you'll go, I can't afford to eat, I can't afford my coffee. It's like, we all know that. So it's, you're getting money for showing up on your bad days, and it's so difficult. And I just want to say that a lot of people try and sell your dream with the courses and stuff like that. I don't have anything to sell. I'm just somebody talking about their experience of trying to make their life better online, you know. Just a Scottish guy on a rant, and it is so difficult, especially when you're trying to do it yourself. You don't have anyone else to rely on. You don't have any real support. It's like, messaging people is okay, and I had all the same advice you probably get online of like, surround yourself with the right people, your environment matters, consistency, routine. It's like, it is all true, but just, I'd say, be wary of buying things that you can't afford. Well, right, let me rephrase that, because I think buying courses, right, can be one of the best things you can do. Right now I'm in a members club, and as I said, I've travelled the world with them, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. When I quit my job, it was where I went, and I was around other guys who are making serious money online. Like, it's been one of the best things, and I bought a trading course, and it's been one of the best things for me. But you've got to try and think what is the best for you at the time. And I would say, if you're just trying to get into a field, like if you're trying to get into trading, and you're making, if you're working at a warehouse or something like that, and you're maybe making £2,000 a month, and you're living really cheap, and you've got, and I want to make a video about this, of like how to try and live as cheap as possible, so you've got the most money to invest, or at least have as savings to give you a cushion. But if you're living really, really cheap, right, and you, let's say you're £1,000 a month, you're saving half your income, right, so you're really frugal, you're not going out, I'll talk about this in another video, but you could have £1,000, let's say, to invest. Then let's say you do what I done the first time, and you buy a 20 grand property investing course for, if you've got 200k in the bank. This is what I know now, is it was for people who have already got money to invest, basically. I should have been buying beginner courses. If you were to talk to somebody like, let's say, Hormozi, right? Guy's been doing business 15 years. He will give you phenomenal business advice. It just costs you 50k a year to talk to, 50k an hour to talk to him. It's like, yeah, you need to take a mortgage out, but he would give you phenomenal advice. What I would say has helped me the most is talking to people who are at the 10k stage. They're like 6 to 12 months ahead of you, and getting one-on-one mentorship with them, or courses off of them, where it's like they're not too far ahead, it's just about manageable. where it's like, okay, I want to be there in 6 to 12 months, and also they're not so big. It's like, for me, I've seen it in the trading space. The big guys can charge 10 grand for a mentorship, and you maybe get a few one-on-one calls with like their third in command, and it's like, huh. Compared to if you find someone who's a bit newer or a bit smaller, you can get one-on-one mentorship with them directly, and it's maybe like 3 grand, and you're like, so it's cheaper, and I get more face time. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, but they can't help me as much because they're not making like 2 million a year. They're making like, I don't know, 100K a year, and it's like, and how much are you fucking making? Like, would you not rather one-on-one intensive training to get you to the 10K mark, which is like a massive step already for you, and it's more about your mindset and having somebody there where you can be like, I'm fucking struggling, because that helps me so much in sales when it's like I'm in an in-person role, and I can just go and speak to my manager and be like, I am struggling right now, and he's right there beside me, and he's making, I don't want to say how much he's making, but he's making really good money, right? So to have somebody there with that kind of mindset you can talk to all the time, that's what you want to be around. So I would say whenever you're going for, if you're trying to improve where you are, live as cheap as you can, align yourself with your goals and your habits, and try and invest as much money as possible in yourself. And that could be, you could invest it in Bitcoin if you think that's going to return you more than investing in your skills and trying to level up. But for me, it's like, I've seen how much money you can make from trading, and for me now, it's like, if I could invest all my spare money, I could maybe make like 100K with investing within like 5 years. And it's like, if I get good at trading, I could make 100K in a trade with trading in 5 years. So it's like, what I always think about it, it's like the teach a man to fish, you feed him forever, or give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. And it's saving up money would be me giving myself my 100K, and it's guaranteed I'd get it within like 5 years. But that's it. It's like I made my 100K, and then I could leave it to compound. You can watch the compounding shit, but it's like, it takes so long to make one of something compared to if I learn trading. And you'll see it now, it's like people have been trading for like 5, 7 years or whatever. They can take one trade and make 50K in that trade. But just up to that point, it's kind of like nothing. Last couple of years, compound effect, boom, and it all pays off. And that's what I always like to remind myself as well, where I'll have days and I'll be like, fuck, life going nowhere. This hasn't worked, this hasn't worked, this hasn't worked. And it's like, hang on a minute, that's now data points where you go, oh shit, yeah, and I know that doesn't work, and I know that doesn't work. Whereas beforehand, you would go, yeah, but I really want to try drop shipping, or I really want to try starting an AI agency, or I really want to try property investing. It's like, I've tried them all, and there's now no longer the itch, because right now I've got the itch to try online sales as a thing that makes me my money in the day, and then day trading on the side. And it's like, until you scratch that itch, I would honestly say like that has got to be one of the biggest bits of advice is, if you can't stop thinking about something and it's recurring and it's all the time, and for me that's business, so I know this is the right path I should be on in life, and right now it's online sales. I just keep it calling to me, and it takes time. It's like figuring out what you want to do with your life isn't instant, and it takes time, but it's, you've got to go with your gut feeling. If you think sales is the right thing, you think X, Y, or Z course is the right thing for you, or a book, or somebody on YouTube, if you think they are the right person for you, you have to trust yourself, because that's who you're building. You're building yourself up, and you've got to be able to say, I thought they'd be a good pick, and I went with it. I had to trust myself. You've got to think what works for you and how it can help you in your life. Okay, so I think this has been hopefully pretty helpful for some of you. A lot of other topics I'd love to. I've not even gone into anything about habits or anything about trading or anything about routines or books I like or anything like that. Goal setting, stuff like that. Sales that I'm now in as well. So yeah, a lot more stuff to come. But I really want to get into kind of weekly updates or weekly um I don't know, like kind of videos and stuff, just going over life, going over where things are at the moment, and kind of being a bit of an inspiration where I love the kind of watching people evolve over time journey, and hopefully if you're watching this as well and you know you want to make a change or something, um, it will be inspiring for you as well. And if you ever want to talk about anything like that, like I'm always up for talking to people about, I don't know, life change, stuff like that, trading, all that kind of stuff. So just yeah, leave me a message.